Welcome to Silk Road Channel.
Once upon a time, in a small village in the middle of a lush green valley, there lived a boy named Samuel. Samuel was a smart child, but he was stubborn and often disobeyed his parents. He always thought he was right and did not need any guidance. One day, Samuel overheard the villagers talking about a sacred temple located on the top of a high mountain. It was said that if anyone was brave enough to overcome the arduous journey to get there, God would give them a precious teaching that would change their lives. Full of curiosity and wanting to prove his bravery, Samuel decided to set out. He brought some bread and water, then started climbing the mountain. The path was dangerous and challenging. The wind was biting, the trail was rocky, but Samuel refused to give up. When the sun set, Samuel was exhausted but finally reached the temple. Inside the temple, everything was quiet, only the dim light from the candle. Samuel knelt down and whispered, "Lord, I have come here to listen to your teachings. I need to know how to be a strong and capable person." Suddenly, a gentle but powerful voice echoed in his mind. "Samuel, strength does not come from stubbornness, but from humility. Success is not about proving yourself right, but about learning to listen and love others. Live like my light, shine but do not blind, show the way, but do not force anyone to follow." Samuel felt his heart tremble. He realized the mistakes in his behavior. He bowed his head, thanked God, and promised to live according to his teachings. From that day on, Samuel returned to his village and was completely changed. He became humble, listened to people, and helped them. The villagers were amazed at his change. They also learned from him that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in conquering others, but in conquering oneself. The story of Samuel and the teachings of God inspired the whole village. The fire of love and humility that Samuel ignited illuminated every heart like the gentle light of God. Samuel not only changed himself, but also spread God's teachings to everyone in the village. He started with small but meaningful actions, helping the elderly, playing with the children, and listening to the stories of the tired workers after a long day. One day, a strange man came to the village. He was a rich merchant, but his face was always sad. He told the villagers that he had lost all his relatives in an epidemic, and now, no matter how much money he had, he still felt empty. No one in the village knew how to comfort him, until Samuel came to him, put his hand on his shoulder and said, "You are not alone. God sent you here to find a new family. Money can be lost, but love and compassion are things that no one can take away. Let us be your relatives." Samuel's words touched the merchant's heart. He stayed in the village, became part of the community, and used his wealth to build a school, giving the children the opportunity to study. The village became more prosperous, not only materially, but also spiritually. Samuel also spent time telling each group of children in the village about his journey on the mountain and God's teachings. He always repeated, "Always be humble and loving. God's teachings are not a secret, but a light for all of us. Each person can become a small candle, spreading that light." As time passed, Samuel grew up and became a leader of the village. People called him Light Bearer. Even as an adult, Samuel never forgot the lesson from God on the high mountain. The temple on the mountain also became a place of pilgrimage for many people. They came not only to seek teachings, but also to feel the power of faith and love. One day, when Samuel was old, he told the last story to the children gathered around him. God's teachings are not something too big or too far away. They are how we treat each other every day. Every time you forgive someone, every time you reach out to help, you are living according to those teachings. Never think that you are too small to change the world. A small ray of light can dispel the darkness. When Samuel left, the village was ablaze with candlelight. Each candle was a thank you to Samuel, to God, and to the love that had changed their lives forever.
After Samuel's death, the village kept the spirit and legacy he left behind. The villagers decided to build a small monument in the center of the village to commemorate the light bearer. The monument was engraved with a simple sentence, "Love and humility will light the way." This inscription was not only a symbol, but also a reminder for future generations. The elders told stories about Samuel as a living legend, and the children played pretend light bearer, helping others and sharing good things. One day, when a great drought came, the village faced unprecedented hardship. The streams dried up, the crops failed, and the villagers began to fear that they would not be able to survive. But when they remembered Samuel and God's teachings, they did not panic. They gathered together, sharing every drop of water they had left, every piece of bread. Despite their poverty, no one was left behind. It was this spirit of unity that attracted the attention of neighboring villages. Seeing the love and solidarity in the village, people from other places volunteered to bring food and water to help. This support not only saved the village from the drought, but also brought many communities together. One night, after the first heavy rain that marked the end of the drought, a group of children from the village decided to climb the mountain shrine to give thanks to God. On the way, they discovered a miracle. From the mountain, a new stream began to flow down, fresh and cool, watering the arid fields below. The villagers believed that this was a gift from God, as a reward for their love and patience. From then on, the stream was called the Fountain of Light because it not only provided water, but also symbolized the spiritual light that Samuel and the teachings of God had brought. Many years later, a pilgrim passed through the village and heard the story of Samuel. He wrote it down in a small book and carried it everywhere. Gradually, the story of the light-bearer spread throughout the world. Wherever people faced darkness, they remembered the simple but profound teaching of God. Be like the light, shine to guide, not to blind, and love like Samuel did, to make the world a better place.